Ronan O'Gara is live in studio. Morning, Ronan.
Yeah, Adrian.
How are you doing?
Shane. Yeah, I'm good.
This is quite the pleasure. Normally we're chatting to you down the line from some far-flung area of France.
Yeah, or I was, as I said to Cullen outside, that there was a little bit of me admitting I could do it from my hotel room in Dublin this morning.
I'd say nothing.
Yeah.
You'd have got away with that. Nobody would have batted an eyelid.
Exactly. But then I said, no, I enjoy it. It's been a great year, a good team of people to work with here, and so come in, show face. And my brother actually bizarrely, well, maybe not bizarrely, opened a dental shop, or dental practice, isn't that the word, in Blackrock in Dublin. So he's a dentist. So
you're a popular man around those parts.
So he brought the trophy out last night just to parade it around. I'll hit Dalkey, I'll hit Blackrock.
No. It's as sport, as we say, it moved very quickly. So for me, we lost the top 14 final last weekend in Stade de France. Fantastic, because before the final you obviously get the French national anthem, which is a very, for me, inspiring national anthem. I was a player always when you used to play France. It was as you get experience, you could kind of chat with the boys in the team, and kind of sometimes we find yourselves humming along to it. You know, you kind of no, hold on, that's not
like that.
But it was brilliant in a full house, I suppose, because it's their masterpiece, the top 14 final. But we unfortunately were stuck in lifts getting up to the coaching box.
Because it was amazing. Somebody clipped it. I was watching last Saturday night. It was an amazing event, and we'll talk to you about that in more detail. But the thing itself was incredible. Your family are unbelievably high achievers.
He sounds surprised, Ronan. He sounds surprised.
I'm not a bit surprised, but
raised right.
Well, raised in Bishopstown in Cork, you know, and whatever, semi-detached house in terms of that. There's no, I think my mum always said you get out of life what you put into it, and they're obviously a teacher and a professor of microbiology, so education was important, and my brothers respected that, and I got a kind of a route through rugby because I scraped into university, you know.
If you hadn't have done rugby, was that even a conversation?
I did because I did a master's in business economics in UCC, right. So I would have been doing hopefully strategy in business or something like that. But
kind of what you're doing now, but in a
exactly. It's actually very very similar. And that's why it interests me a lot. So there's obviously, I think my older brother is an addiction counsellor in John O'God's in Dublin, so his work is really, really interesting, and he's passionate about it. And I think he had come straight from a day yesterday of doing it, and I saw him just outside the dental practice, and I could see he was in kind of match mode, and he was kind of psychoanalyzing me and looking me up and down before, because I was chatting to another guy before he even presented his thoughts that I was his brother, you know. So it's been a long week this week, in the fact that I kind of you come off a defeat, but then you realise it was a great season, but then you also realise how into match mode you get when you're doing your passion. So we'll go on holidays next week and recharge and come back.
Has it been a long week? Is it hard to? Are you a wallower after that?
No, because it's a great reminder to how. You mean a Leinster feeling that's multiplied by 3, so I've tasted that this week, you know, where you're 2 minutes from completing something that's very, very rare in modern sport, a double, but I think just a little percentage point or two off, and that's what sport at the top level is, fine margins, you know. For me, the last bit of trial or a bit of genius from Entomac, even though it was a poor decision defensively on our behalf, but a guy who's able to accelerate and glide with such guile after 78 minutes of a long season, of a long test match, to score the winning try. I didn't probably think he had that, but
he mightn't have had it if the stuff hadn't happened before that. He might not, because he was probably trying to individually win the game on his own at that stage, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was, because he missed a crucial, which was a massive breaking point for us.
Every inch out of it.
And for us, we know how to put away close games. And honestly, there was probably a lot of disbelief in, when you scan and look back at the video, in their Toulouse players and their coaching staff in their group, that they were nearly as surprised as anyone that they'd scored this try to go, and we didn't have enough time to come back. But it was 2013 that's where we lost the game. It went 2016, 2019, 22-20. We gave them 3 piggybacks, which killed us.
There's probably shades of the Leinster game at some points, because you come from 10 points. Was it 10 points down at one stage? So like, the team had clearly mentally strong enough to come back from deficits. It was just that this occasion, the last couple of minutes were slightly different.
Yeah, it was, exactly. But as I said, we were inaccurate as well. At 2013, if you score any kind of score, but probably the way we were playing, if we got a driving maul try and convert that as 27-13, that just kills everyone, But that's ifs and buts, and my aunt and my uncle, and
I'm glad a week later that you could reflect like that. And there was a nice clip. I couldn't tell what was being said, but between yourself and Entimac afterwards, there was a bit of a
of course, because it's
fair play. Like, I mean, is it?
You have to be competitive, you have to drive standards, but you also have to be realistic. And it's a position I know very well, and it's a fantastic piece of rugby. Even though I'm the opposing coach, I think there's a responsibility for me to acknowledge that. And also I think one or two of my comments were small, were disappointing. So I don't know, do people in France listen? I'm sure they do, but I think I showed disrespect by saying that it was an average Toulouse team, but this is a team that have won 5 European Cups and have 22 boucliers. So for anyone that probably played for them or an ex-player, those comments are disappointing and small on my behalf, and I accept that now. So I think it's important I say that, because if you're a Josian or a Doucetoir or a Yannick Nyanga or Trevor Brennan or Fabien Pelouse, that's their club. What I'm trying to do with La Rochelle is trying to enforce, I suppose, a willpower that we can match these guys, but at the same time you can't obviously diss them and diss their history, because it's so powerful.
That's probably the thing, though. I suppose after a match like that, where you have such heavy emotions, you're like, a microphone is going to be stuck in your face, and like, I suppose in that moment you could say anything, because you're probably not thinking clearly in the immediate aftermath of a match.
I think you are thinking clearly. I think that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to think clearly, but you also have to maybe differentiate a little bit more accurately, because I thought the performance of Toulouse on the night was quite average. That doesn't make them an average team, but if you mix your words, you can sometimes not portray what your inner feelings are. But yes, because you are in match mode straight after a game, but you're bitterly disappointed, but time heals a lot of things, and a few days later you can see where you didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve, but it makes you hungrier and more excited for the season that arrives with a special group of players, but also I suppose emphasises the importance of getting away from it and recharging and coming back. A better coach and a better group.
C'est la plus grande chose du monde, le bouclier. Is it an even bigger thing now? Like, do you become even more obsessed, more determined?
Sometimes over obsession can be an evil. Just because you want something so much, maybe that can lead to more question marks than solutions. It's something we've been aware of, in terms of just because you want it, but you have to have a very, very clear vision, I suppose, of how you want to achieve it. So overwant in any discipline is probably leads to over excitement, over appraisal of the task, I think I think my immediate thoughts at the minute in terms of coming back next season would be that defeat is brilliant because it gives you great lessons. We have to take those lessons, but maybe I think the time for them is hopefully next April, May, June, as opposed to giving them a lecture on the first day back.
Give them a bit of
you know.
But it's an incredible thing to be able to sit here and say defeat is brilliant. So to be able to separate, because I totally understand that it doesn't make you any less desperate to win it, but to have that as a takeaway to drive next season. To be able to, like, the very few coaches I think that would say.
I think so, Adrian. It's, you know what I mean? You win a European Cup last year, you win a European Cup this year, you lose in the top 14 final, and we obviously didn't. We got beaten by Toulouse in the barrage last season, so there was since we probably started the project, there was 4 titles available. You win 2 in Europe, you don't win France, but you have to be so appreciative and grateful for what's happening. But I think anyone who comes into our environment understands that we create a good environment and we have fun, but we also are serious when we need to work. So these chasing titles is very important, but I think you're going to need to chase performance, because usually one leads to the other. A lot of people get mixed up about that and don't understand that, but from my point of view, it's been a phenomenal season with a great bunch of lads, and that's, I suppose, I say to them, we don't work, we play rugby, we're involved in rugby, and that's our passion. This is what we do. But you mean the lessons you get from Saturday night from not finishing it are incredibly hard to accept, because the flip side of it, you would have created a massive piece of history.
Yeah, and everybody craves it. You crave it, the players crave it, the town craves it, the owner craves it. It's like, I think we chatted last week about your drive and passion infecting everybody else around the European Cup, but this thing needing no explanation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, when you come from 13-3 down to lead 2013, 17 unanswered points, but we didn't find another gear, and that's where we need to get better at, and I think we will be, and we need to understand that. But it makes it very exciting at the same time. It's not really a threatening environment. If you have a desperation environment, you won't get what you want.
Do you have the glass of wine with Ugo Mola after the match, or how does that operate after a final? I suppose it's different after a final.
No, I didn't see him. I met Virgil Lacombe there. I coached him in Racing, a good guy, but I didn't see. The only Toulouse player I saw was I saw a few of them on the pitch actually. Shook their hand, because that you saw how much it meant to them too. It's rare you catch Toulouse in a kind of a state of, I suppose, euphoria like that. It's the first time I think Ntamack cried, which is a big statement, because he's been playing for France for 4 or 5 years now, has he?
Yeah.
Because we'd spoken before the final even about was it an 8-game losing streak before the performance in January, which was a really big win for yourselves over Toulouse.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's something important too for young coaches or anybody who is kind of, I think when you're the coach, you're responsible for when you take, it'd be the same as like saying that Donncha Ryan's record now, Roman Carmignani or Seb Bubu's record is thing, but their record will start when they're the manager. They're involved in it, but they don't have out of respect for them. They toe the line with me and believe in what I'm trying to do, but you can be sure that there are certain things that they do differently, and that's what, all due respect to them, because everyone is different and they see it differently. And but yeah, since I took over, it was we had played them 5 times I think up to last weekend, and we had only won one game, but we had 2 red cards. What was pleasing the last weekend was
discipline
from because discipline it's too loose a word, If we didn't have cards but we weren't disciplined,
right?
We had a back chat, which in a French top 14 final, which brought Ramos into kicking range.
Those
things are
small margins.
Yeah, but they're huge.
Yeah.
Would you be the Mole point? Like, would it be normal that you'd go in and have a glass of wine or a beer afterwards?
No.
Not that type of culture.
I presume there's a lot of relationships established between probably a few of the longer serving coaches in the top 14. Like, there isn't really any because it's a slog and you have so many games. It's Saturday. Like, there's sometimes it's
not always possible or whatever.
Yeah, you don't have. We're not that
I was really asking about the
where
beef.
we have a glass of red wine and some.
I'm projecting my own wishes onto.
At midnight beef. You play at 9 o'clock, which a lot of the big teams do.
No chance. Yeah.
You know, you could easily, but
it's late. Do you chat to him afterwards? Is the beef still there, or is it?
There's nothing there. It's never. I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
So.
You don't like each other, though. I think that's. I mean,
he can speak for himself. I have no feelings on that because what I said in the lead up to the game, which I stood by, is his opinion on us in Europe or us. It was actually in the semi-final. Has of no relevance because we're not playing them. Like, that's something. But I think it shows that we're probably. A big rival to them now.
Yeah.
You know?
On that, what's the attitude towards La Rochelle as a club within France? Because I suppose we're slightly removed from that aspect of it. Like, how are they perceived? How are they viewed? Are they a team that people love to hate? Or are they a team that people are welcoming this kind of resurgence?
No, but I suppose it's only. There was probably a lot of maybe surprise disbelief that we won a European Cup last year.
Yeah,
you know,
within France.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
is that? Remember we chatted about the begrudgers comment in the Examiner last week, and it was only afterwards that we were chatting about it. Is that like? Is that the feeling in France? Like, there's so much respect for everything that you've done in Britain and in here, but maybe it's within France. Is that the kind of?
No, I don't think so. But sure, once we won this European Cup final, there's an acceptance that this is a serious team. You know. And we would have taken it to a whole new level, and we would not need to, I suppose, talk, because the act of winning the double closes all discussions. What we have to do now is we have to make sure that we start the season strong and we're a force to be reckoned with, but I've no doubt we will be. How we're seen in France is I think is a Toulouse of 9 in the French 42. We have 8, so they're a little bit ahead of us, but we don't have. Georges-Henri Cullen, who I think could maybe make the squad if he gets a break. Thomas Lavaux and Jules Favre, and then we would have Sandro, who's a prop for Georgia. We have Joel Sclavi propping for Argentina. Will Skelton, obviously, for Australia. Lavinia Bottia, 7 for France. Soutini, Samoa. I would make a big case for Raymond Rule and Dylan Lades and for wingers for South Africa, but they seem to have a very, I suppose, closed group or an established group that they believe in. But for me, they're well capable of shining at test level.
I remember Brian Cody saying years ago, it was after Kilkenny were on some sort of a 6 or 7, they'd won 6 or 7 All-Ireland in a row, whatever, it wasn't that many, but they'd won 6 or 7 out of 8 or 9 years, whatever it was, and there was nobody would have a bad word to say about them. And he came out after the All-Stars, they got maybe they got 10 places on the team of 15, and Brian Cody was apoplectic about it. He was like, I can't believe this, what disrespect they're showing this Kilkenny team. Is there a little bit of that as well? That
I know, I'm sure why.
That Toulouse are getting because I saw Hastoy, there's quotes carried in the Examiner this morning from that piece he did in Midi Olympique during the week about the 8 players selected and the job that you've done and all that, but there's no does that feed into the disrespect?
No. Listen, Adrian, there'll be no doubt about this. Whatever way you look at it, Toulouse are worthy winners of the top 14. They have the medal. It's done. It'll never change. That's it. And from my point of view, there's disappointment there, but there's a deep respect for what they do as a club.
Yeah.
And to feel that we are what's the word, tainted, is it, or not given enough respect, that wouldn't be my sentiment one bit at all. No.
You mentioned about Ugamola there, Leo Cullen. It just struck me last night that you have been in each other's environment for over 20 years. It's incredible, really, between, and like quite often, like in the red heat of battle as well, in the like fiery interpros over the years, and then obviously in a court. There's probably nobody that you've been in competition with as much as him.
Yeah.
Over that period of time.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, and he's a very probably underappreciated competitor. I think a lot of guys think that he's more manager role. Yeah, he'd have that overseeing role, but I think this guy is a serious operator with a burning desire inside him to make his club the best club in the world, and he's very much succeeded because they've become anyone who wants personal development or have a look what's a humming environment, they go home and spend a week in Leinster. That's the reality, and that's the model he's created, which is all credit to him. But I agree with you. I think you may find that he'd be more observing, but I wouldn't. I can't comment accurately because I'm not in there. But Leo was always a great competitor, smart, but he had a nice edgy side to him. But what's, I suppose, important for me to say on record would be the fact that I've always remained in contact with him for the last 20 years. There's been times when you can't, how can you get on, because it's Munster or Leinster, it's La Rochelle or Leinster, but there's always been a text of respect sent either way.
Right. Yeah, I did wonder about that, about do you get a chance after the final to sit down?
Yeah. Not this final, last final we did, they were incredibly gracious. Guy used to be Stuart, and Leo came for a beer, so that's tough, because if I was going for a beer after Saturday night, the Toulouse trains,
crying into
midnight,
you know what I mean? That's very important.
It's hard, isn't it? When you're in that, you're trying to be as magnanimous as you can.
But it shows I suppose the level of the person and people you're dealing with. That's very, very sporting on their behalf.
What was your immediate reaction when you saw the draw for the Heineken Champions Cup come through, and you saw that Leinster were again pulled out of the hat?
Unbelievable, because we have a staff group and we got version 1 of the draw, and then we were having lunch together, and then one of the members of staff said that isn't your pool.
Oh, it was like a pre-draw.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that was sent on to the staff WhatsApp, so we were like, geez, that's a good draw.
Okay.
It was in that one. It was in that one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What a stinker.
Oh, wow.
What's going to happen there? So you play
that staff member able to come back from that post to see.
He thought it was the actual.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah, right.
I saw talk about getting, it's a good start to our day.
Delete.
Yeah, but Pool 4 is juicy.
Oh, say the least.
Yeah, but sure.
Nothing confirmed yet as to whether it's going to be there or here. Is that the venues of TBC?
No idea yet.
And you won't
there
play
isn't much. It's quite difficult comprehension of the understanding of who is home and why, isn't it?
And also you can't play a team that's
kind of 6 asterisks about why it could be a home game for you.
Why don't they just simplify the thing?
Yeah, but
that'd be too easy. Make too much sense.
It's a weird fixture to have now. There's no great satisfaction in it for anybody either way. It's not like, if Leinster managed to finally beat you, that it's any kind of redemption. And on your side, you just have to go about it as sort of business as usual. We need to win this game. It's a weird
there's no
setup.
There's very little jeopardy in the system. So I don't know if shadowboxing comes into it at all when that game eventually comes around. But there could be an element, I presume, of that. You don't want to show your full hand necessarily if you're say already guaranteed.
It depends if you need points or not, because the other teams are. So you could have a situation where you go away to Sale, isn't it? Then you can go away to Stormers,
there,
and
yeah.
then home to Leinster. You know, that's, with all due respect, those games could go either way.
Yeah.
You know,
the demand for tickets from here, your phone will be off the charts. Like it's what a weekend away. Is it only 2 teams go through from?
Isn't it? It's 2 out of the. So it's you play each team. So you have 4 games.
Yeah, you play. There's 6 teams in the group, and you only play 4 of them.
Yeah, because we don't play Stade Francais.
2 that go through maybe, and I don't know. It's a weird system. It's they should try and simplify it if they can.
Well, the old Heineken Cup system was, I think, a sweet spot, wasn't it? I mean, the way they used to do it seemed perfect, but I guess
but then there was always people giving out then about the whatever team got the 2 Italian teams, you know. But I think they've progressed sufficiently now at this stage, you know. But like, it was always the 2 best runners up came from those pools.
Yeah,
which made it very lopsided for those teams that were lucky enough to get those teams at the time. But yeah, it's a I suppose a programme that's difficult to follow at this stage.
We've some lovely comments coming in, and I'll get to them in a second, but a few quickfire ones before that. You were working with, was it Galway last year you were working with?
I know I wasn't working with
them. You were doing bits of...
Yeah, I spoke to, obviously, Pádraig Joyce and be in contact with him. And
are you doing any of that this year? With any team?
No.
You have to think about that.
Not on the record, like.
Yeah. No, I can't get back. I would like to, and it's great because few people reach out, so you get to visit a few teams, you know. But I haven't. I'm in text conversations with a few teams, but not
football.
Cold.
All right, the other one.
Warm.
Not like the moon landings last week. I think I was very warm with the theme aspect.
Yeah, you were. No, but I'm not genuine. I will have a look at that now because there's a break in my season, you know.
Yeah. Hurling.
Yeah.
Limerick.
No.
Couldn't do that. I couldn't pick a Munster team.
Just trying to think who would be likely to. Henry Shefflin's probably a man who's.
No, I haven't. I genuinely haven't been talking to. I'm talking to Pádraig Joyce, but I haven't been over to Galway this year.
When we chatted to you last week, you brought up the GA at the end. Are you getting to Páirc Uí Chaoimh tomorrow at the playing Roscommon in the?
No, I'm home.
Get down
tonight.
Out of Dodge.
You know the coach well.
Yes.
I'll be glued to the telly. The curtain will be across to keep the sun away.
A few beers open.
No.
Hopefully you have a good drinking partner. That's the the key to that.
I don't need beers for watching sport. But geez, the hurling is
incredible at the minute,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, what a sport.
Yeah. At its best. What's your go-to, like, outside of rugby?
Yeah, I love the
hurling.
Yeah, and the football.
Yeah,
I love the GA and the.
Do you watch much soccer?
Saturday. Yeah.
Do you watch a bit of it? Are you sort of just anything that's on?
Kids love soccer.
Do they?
Yeah. So I've obviously.
Hugo Lloris, I think you were talking to us before.
Yeah. But one of my boys is a big Man United fan.
Right.
So, and then the youngest is a Liverpool fan.
They love
it. They love it, but
you're a Liverpool fan, are you?
Yeah, but it's 90 minutes. It's watching paint dry sometimes.
Yeah.
Long time, the game.
You're not you're not looking at it with the coach's hat on.
No.
Appreciating the.
No, even though you have to admire what Man City did, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
Guardiola's serious driver of men.
Yeah. Have you mentioned earlier on about like people going into the Leinster environment, so that sort of thing where people go to different coaches? Have you had people in?
Yeah. They come. It's getting busy now, you know, but I'd be very open on that. Just come in and they can have anything or everything.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's because we're already kind of. That's the present, but like I'm already projecting about where you need to get your game to, you know. So you're always thinking about the now, but also. But I think it's very important too that you share, you know. That was what I got out of the Crusaders, you know. They were very open, and when people are good to you, I think you need to be good to people back, you know. That's the way I work.
Would you be a big reader?
Yeah, I enjoy reading, but I When I didn't have kids, obviously I read an awful lot, but now that's parked for a lot. You know, you need your sleep.
Possible. Yeah.
You know, that's priority.
Or you read
one.
a page and then you're asleep.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't last more than a page. Because you're
it's a killer.
Shattered.
We got away went to the Monaco Grand Prix a few weeks ago, which in itself was an exceptional experience.
Oh wow, yeah,
incredible. But I managed to read half a book because we went without the kids. It was like
what's happening here?
A window into life where you could actually have a bit of time to yourself.
Yeah, that was it. When holidays, when you didn't have kids, I used to read.
Different,
it is that thing on the theming aspect you probably get, like even Ronnie O'Sullivan was sitting in that seat with us recently, and he was talking about reading a book by this climber guy who climbed Yosemite National Park in America, Tommy Caldwell, and like he was getting little tidbits for his own sports psychology from books. Something similar.
There's definitely nuggets there, you know. There's some brilliant books. Brilliant books recommended by. It doesn't matter who recommends them.
Yeah.
What is it? There's a few good nuggets in The Obstacle Becomes the Way. I don't think that's the title, but a lot of people see the obstacle as something that stops you. But if you actually change your mindset or change your perception, the obstacle becomes the solution.
Yeah,
it's interesting, you know.
Different way of thinking.
Yeah.
You're still going in for the odd dip, I presume, are you? Out the front and out the gap, and then you go all year round?
No. I'm quite late to start this year, but I've started a few weeks ago, and it changes the head completely. You know, you're kind of wondering, will I, won't I?
Yeah.
And after cold water, it's even though it's not very cold at all. You're not cold when you come out, you know, which is weird. While in Ireland, you're searching for some parts.
Yeah. Wim Hof. Yeah. Do you follow that guy? He's the one. The cold water.
That was posted on these pages last week, was it? He's some records, doesn't he?
The method,
He had tragedy in his life years ago, and he came up with this thing of cold water therapy. You immerse yourself in cold water. I think it's like if you do 11 minutes a week, it's supposed to be very good for the head. In a one-off, in a one setting, or
does that mean your head has to be underneath?
I don't know. No, I think it's just body.
Jeez, it'd be seeking a lot of
I get the flat
headaches, wouldn't you, if you were underneath the water?
Oh, not for that length. No, but he
flat white afterwards, you'd be sorted.
Exactly.
You would be, but you kind of less coffee season now in the summer, isn't it?
Right.
It's coffee season all year round.
Yeah, well, it is in Ireland.
I can't shake the image of you out in Dalkey last night, or Blackrock last night, with the swing in the Champions Cup. I'm sure it's not true.
There was no cups.
Was there a bit of crack out there about it?
There was good.
Yeah.
There were nice, really nice clientele.
There's some lovely comments coming in. So you mentioned holidays, a little bit of a breather, downtime. Will you just totally decompress from anything to do with the game, or will you be? Because I know you've spoken before about bringing the laptop and.
No, I won't bring the laptop, but as you say, you might find a book which
give you inspiration.
But it's not as if I dislike my work, you know. I just think it's very important that you actually make 2 weeks very different to the other 50 of the year.
Yeah.
Do you get me? So it's not, there's nothing like routine, or you just have to go to a place where you don't know and just embrace it.
Yeah. We've seen various exports go to various parts of the world. We've had Trevor Brennan and other people who go to these places, and then their kids grow up, and you're like, when they get a bit older now, they'll come back and they'll play for Ireland, and it's not always the case. What about the O'Garas?
We'll always come back, you know. I think that's for certain. It's just it's fast at the minute, you know. I think that game is fine margins, you know, as you know, and the project I'm in at the minute is only starting, you know, so it's very, very exciting because it's good people you care about. It's not as if it's just thrown together club, you know. The president has a lot of good values. He's 73. Vincent Merling, Cafe Merling has created a nice club where respect and honesty are mentioned daily.
Right.
humility is mentioned daily, and I think that's it is nice because it becomes powerful when you respect the values, as opposed to a lot of environments you go to, words are plastered on the wall, but they mean nothing. But I think when you play close to what your values mean, it creates bonds, and bonds create, I suppose, different opportunity for boys of 20 years of age to 37 years of age that want to do something together. So it sounds maybe complicated or far-fetched, but it isn't. It's very, very simple.
You say you're at the start of the journey. Like you don't look at something like, say, the 2027 World Cup in 4 years' time and say, I'd like to be there by that point. Like, are you taking it very much more short-term than that, or is it you have a plan in your head as to where you'd like to be?
Yeah, it'd be very unlikely I'd be at the 2027 World Cup.
Involved with anyone?
Yeah, because it's obviously changes very quickly. I realise that, but the Ireland will have Andy Farrell if Andy Farrell wants to go to 2027, and Fabien Galtier is going to 2027. So they're the two that probably appeal the most.
Your kids are playing all sorts of sports. When they get that bit older, will there be any question about the allegiance?
No, but I suppose what you do learn is that their parents are from Cork and are hugely proud of where we come from. But for them, what we've seen so far, it's a long way off having a choice to play to play for an international team. Believe me.
Well, they come from good stock. It's not entirely unlikely, and they're playing away. A couple of them are playing away.
Yeah, they are. But they're like they're 14 is the eldest. You need to just take a breath.
Cool the boots a bit.
Correct. It's in his head sometimes. With Instagram, they think that. You mean they have all the gear, but believe me, when it comes to it,
listen,
but that's, you can't stop kids dreaming. That's very important too. So, but what's important is what I see is to step back, get away from it. And if you want to watch, I think watch, but it's very rare I go and watch because of my timetable, which is disappointing. And the kids say that, well, Dad doesn't come and watch me play. I'm like, oh,
that's hard.
That hurts. But then what you don't want to be is that busy parent on the sideline giving their opinion. Just, it's the kids' time. Let them play. Let them express themselves. They have fun. At 20 or 18, they can start getting worried about winning medals and stuff. But I think at that age, if they can play a number of different sports, they might it could contribute to a better player or athlete at that stage.
Yeah, my 7-year-old is trying to figure out which country he's trying to decide which country will I play for. He doesn't quite understand that.
That's Grealish and Declan Rice.
It's hard to get there to begin with, and it doesn't quite work like that.
But it can. Why not him?
Totally. But I wouldn't discourage it. But just he's not sure would it be Ireland or he has a connection for France. It seems. I think it's Mbappe led. To be honest, but
he saw Mbappe live at a game recently. They went to see.
Your kids meet Mbappe and Messi.
Yeah, Angers are playing Paris Saint-Germain. So Angers is near La Rochelle. It's a 2-hour drive maybe. So one of the sponsors, I think, has a dual sponsorship with us and them. So we got the royal treatment.
Class.
Yeah, it was. It was very interesting to see. Just cool watching what a soccer warm-up is and how you've picked the wrong choice when there's so much contact in rugby. These guys are just kind of like a few little abductor stretches.
That's right.
Talking like this.
That's right. And it's only a matter of time before that comes into rugby. The lip readers are out there.
But just the acceleration in real life of Mbappe. Wow. Yeah, because we had is it Tunisian right back who plays for Paris Saint-Germain, Kamimi no, maybe not. Who was it? Moroccan.
Ashraf Hakimi.
Yeah. He's fast too. You bolts up and down the sideline, you know, and you see an awful lot of walk off the ball stuff. Obviously, when you're in the ground on TV, you don't, unless you have maybe. Well, there's some great, obviously, angles on TV, but yeah, just to see the acceleration of Mbappe. Messi was only in second gear that night. He wasn't too pushed, you know. Sergio Ramos was impressive. He had presence on the pitch, you know. But it was just. It's such a different game, and like I suppose most things when you're in a stadium, you get to appreciate how they push, isn't it, and they close teams down. And because in telly you think they have a lot of time on the ball, and why is he stressed about that?
That's right.
It isn't that easy to pick a pass.
8 seconds, yeah.
You'll be back in when the next franchise is opened in some other salubrious surrounds in South Dublin. But for the minute, thanks a million for coming in. Enjoy the break.
Thank you,
and congrats on the season.
Good man. Thanks, Adrian Shane. Cheers, boys.